And we're back. Dynamic effort bench day in the basement. Speed benching. Emphasis on the speed because it is currently 6:56. And if I want to get into bed at a reasonable hour, I am going to have to hustle my little balls off. So theme of the day is going to be training density, and it's probably a good challenge because something I've been talking about a lot with Miana is that I need to figure out how to do training vlogs and not have the vlog add too much time to my training sessions. So let's see how quickly I can get this shit done. And it is week 2 of the speed bench wave, which means that I should be going up in weight from last week, but I had been using some old sack to shit minis, and one of them just expired. So I got some freshies on the bar, and they are absolutely whooping my ass. So I'm going to keep things a little bit lighter just so I don't die. Still running that 9x3 with 3 rounds of 3-set clusters of triples, where I'm going to be running 3 different grips for each of the sets and take some rest between each of the clusters. And really, I'm just gonna do it and push the bar hard. You guys will be able to figure out what's going on. Just try to change grip as quick as possible. New bands, freaking nasty. Especially when you're used to running bands that are like 5 years old and almost shouldn't even count as band tension. Round 2. That's fun. Freaking feeling the triceps, but let's get back in there. All right, time for inclines. 225 on the bar. Have not let my arms calm down at all from speed bench, so we'll see how she goes. Goes well, we're going 245. I'd say that went well enough. All right, 245. These are still unreasonably difficult on the pack, but only one way to make them better. RPE, no safeties up, and I didn't want to die. Still haven't given the arms any time to calm down, so incline jabs gonna be fun. That's fun. And if you're struggling with the groove on a JM, make sure your grip is narrow enough. Make sure your hands are cocked inward slightly. And if that still doesn't help, toss her on an incline, because the angle of the incline makes it so much more intuitive to just make it elbow close, elbow open, put the whole thing in the triceps and blow the absolute crap out of them. Let's try to make 205 feel at least halfway decent. Woo! And back on some dips. Operation Don't Be a Pussy, because we ain't got no slingshot on. Oh, kind of feeling like a pussy. Getting a little more sure of where I am as I go. Holy shit, that feels very not good, but that's more reason to get better at them. All right, set 2. Goal is to make it look and feel less terrible. More emphasis on the feel than the look, because the feeling was pretty bad, and I know it also looked pretty bad. So yeah, let's try to do a little better. Gotta get in the groove of it. And then fatigue hits. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna get better at those. So when I was planning out this session, I was like, if I do a dip, I'm not gonna have to do a push down. But then doing the dips, I realized it was shoulders dying way before triceps got any chance to do some work. So push downs, it is. If you guys got a chance to ever try one of these prime handles, I highly recommend at least giving it a try, because it is a unique feel for any sort of cable work. To be determined if that unique feel is actually productive, but it feels productive. All right, one more. Team fat elbows. Had a dude on Instagram commenting how he'd rather have big triceps than fat elbows, and I guess he didn't get that we're not actually training for elbow girth, we're still training triceps and kind of trying to nail the part down by the elbow, which kind of makes the elbow look girthier. But again, we are growing the triceps, not the actual elbow joint. Fuck. And we're here. Got the fancy prime handle out, so might as well run us some pull downs. And this bell's tower is a little short, so gotta kind of lean back, which isn't the worst thing ever. Kind of want to make sure I'm not cheating too hard with the lean. Still getting full scap travel. Still trying to pull chest tall. And really just big ol' squeezy squeeze. Big ol' stretchy stretch. And that's how you make a pull down work. Freaking awesome. We'll go up. And I still have nightmares about the time Cole came down here and maxed out the stack for like 30 reps cold. So gotta get better at these suckers. There we go. Chugging. And while I'm over here, got an idea that just might work, so let's try it. We got face pulls. Woo-wee. Yeah, that's gonna be sick. Hold on 1 second. Got the kettlebell for supersetting front raises in. Let's run them. And these are slowly but surely feeling less horrendous. Might have spoken too soon. Face pull from like this high is a little bit weird, not gonna lie, but we're doing it. Still gonna get something out of it. Optimal is an illusion. Ooh. And straight back into the front raises. Right back in. Yeah, he's gonna do something. Try bracing my foot against the seat. Oh, that is way better. Why didn't I do that sooner? Yeah. And I've been liking the concentration curls, so we're gonna concentrate. I think mostly because it's an opportunity to sit down. Like, could training biceps get any lazier than this? But in a way, you almost want it to be lazy because you want it to be just the bicep doing the biceping. And this is a good way, for me at least, to make sure that it happens. Righty's actually feeling surprisingly good today. Maybe those side pull kind of crucifixy single arm things did something good. Oh. One more. And unless I'm talking about it or showing myself doing it, I pretty much do 2 sets on every accessory unless I really have a need to do more. And usually if I have a need to do more, excuse me, it's because I'm taking it lighter and running it for more of a therapeutic intent. But running 2 work sets per movement lets me kind of make sure that I'm pushing hard enough on the movement to really get a good stimulus out of it. And if I get a good stimulus and I'm pushing hard on it, I don't need a ton of volume per movement to get the job done. And like, I used to be a huge volume guy. Like, I used to be like a 4 or 5 sets of everything. And reducing volume, bumping up intensity a little bit within the accessories has been freaking tremendous for improving both performance and how I feel. And I enjoyed the Dan Bell bent over hammers last week, which is kind of the opposite of a hammer curl, or the opposite of a, what the fuck am I even saying? It is the opposite of a concentration curl in terms of precision, but that's not always the worst thing. I'm just trying to manage the swing to make sure that I'm shoving the elbow forward, creating more tension doing it, not just like momentuming and swinging the dumbbell, because that's not what we want. We want just a gentle shove to kind of put us in a better or more disadvantaged leverage position. Holy shit, I cannot think right now. But if we kind of gently shove, then curl from that point, gently shove, curl from that point, not getting momentum out of it, doing it to make the thing harder. Wow, this is the worst talking clip I've ever done. Let's just pretend that made sense. Okay, I think the brain is working better. What I meant to say is that in the bottom, I'm kind of gently edging forward, and then curling from that slightly pushed forward position. I'm not just letting the dumbbell swing because then I get no tension, but if I'm here and I'm strict, I slightly push forward, I curl from that slightly pushed forward position. It makes the leverages way freaking gnarlier on the arm out of the bottom, and it gets nasty really freaking quick. And it's a Tuesday, so you know what it is. Spread, eagle, sit-ups. And like, yeah, I've been doing these every Tuesday, and I don't plan on not doing them on a Tuesday anytime soon, but it's like, if a movement seems to be working really freaking well for us, there is no need to change that movement until it becomes apparent that something else will work better for our intent. Oh, talking makes me so much harder. I'm gonna shut up. Okay, it's still hard. So freaking good. All right, last one. Dig into it. Glutes hard, low back on the floor. Curl up. Get freaking strong through the torso. And it is now 8:33, which is pretty good considering that I ran a full warm-up after the intro, and I had to take like 10 minutes to try to figure out the stupid band situation, and then I screwed up this outro like 3 times, so this is my 3rd attempt at this. But what today reminded me of, how busy it felt, it reminded me of Chiro School in a way. And thinking back to it, I remember going from Q3 to Q4. And for those of you who didn't go to Palmer, Florida, Q4 is like the first real ass kicker of a quarter because the workload steps up exponentially and then it kind of peters off for the rest of it. And like in Q4, like you literally have weeks with 50 plus tests a week between all the lab exams, all the lecture exams, all of the practical exams. There's just literally tests coming out of your ass, or it actually feels like there's tests going up your ass because in the moment it really doesn't feel all that good. But going into Q4, I remember being very worried that training was going to take a hit. I remember being very worried that I wouldn't be able to put as much time into the gym as I needed, especially with the meet I had coming up. And I remember talking to Dan Bell about this, and I was going to do a Dan Bell impression, but I realized that my voice is far too squeaky to ever accurately impersonate Dan. But what Dan said to me, just one sentence that had so much meaning, and it was, "You're only as busy as you think you are." And at the time, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It made me realize that I was letting everyone else's perception of what was going to happen with Q4 get in my head before it even started to happen. It made me realize that, yeah, there is going to be a lot of stuff going on, but that doesn't mean that the things that mattered to me the most needed to take a hit. And what I kind of realized with that is, like, in school, in order to get everything done that I needed to get done, I really just needed to prioritize what was the most important in my day. And I needed to make sure that I got those things that were the most important done. And then if I got what was the most important done, I could maybe get some of those less important things done, but they're less important things that didn't need to be done. So if I let them slide a little bit, it really didn't matter. And figuring that out in school is something that I am so freaking grateful for. And like all the time I get asked by chiro students and physio students and just students in general, like, how were you able to compete at a high level in school? How were you able to coach at a high level while you were in school? And like, the answer is, I really just did it. And doing that in school is something that I am so fortunate that I was able to do, because when you graduate, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks, because real life is so much freaking harder than the classroom. And like, even with how hard I was pushing things in school, it still hit me like a ton of bricks upon graduation, because growing a business, like going from being a full-time student, part-time coach, to trying to grow a full-time coaching business when I didn't have student loans to help me pay the bills and survive on, like, that was an ass kicker. And it was a real wake up call. And if I didn't have the time management skills that I built as a student, I would have not made it. And what I tell people that are in school all the time is like, work your freaking balls off. Do everything that you can. Enjoy being busy. Embrace being busy, because after you graduate, if you want to make it on your own, especially like if you are in chiro school, if you are in physio school, if you don't want to be working for someone else, you are going to need to put in a lot of effort. You're going to need to put in a lot of time, and you're going to need to be okay with putting in a lot of time and effort so that you can build the future that you want. And it is going to suck at times. It is going to be overwhelming. It is going to not always be fun. And there are some days like today where training does have to be pushed back later in the day, where training does have to be compressed a little bit, but that doesn't mean that training needs to drop in quality. And today was still a really, really, really freaking good session, all things considered. So appreciate the heck out of you guys for giving me another reason to be more busy here with the YouTube stuff. It is fun to get to share some perspective and hopefully help people who are on their way up. So thank you again for watching. Peace out. Have a good night. I'm going to go get my ass to bed.